Guess what's back? Business and Brews, where real business talk meets real people, and always fueled by a good brew. This time we're going podcast first, bite-sized, insightful, and built for conversations you'll want to share. I'm your host, Matt Pierce, founder and CEO of Immediate, and I'll be sitting down with leaders, entrepreneurs, and friends to talk about leadership, growth, and the stories that make business worth talking about. So grab your favorite brew, pull up a chair, and let's talk business the way it's meant to be talked about. Business and Brews, back, bolder, better than ever. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Business and Brews. I'm your host, Matt Pierce. And coming off of last week's episode with Brandon Horn from Greenlight, we felt like it would be a good idea to continue down the path of talking about kids and money, financial literacy, all that good stuff. And so here with me are two familiar faces. If you guys have been following along for a while, my oldest daughter, Kathryn, and my middle daughter, Whitley Grace. You may recognize them from some older, you may not actually recognize them. They've grown up so much since we did these original videos. But we did these videos a few years ago. If you haven't seen them, go to our YouTube channel, check them out. They're called Kids Don't Wait to Get Paid. And
Don't show the apps either.
obviously, there's Business and Brews where we're interviewing other business leaders, entrepreneurs, things of that nature. But we've also been doing some of these solo episodes specifically focused around financial education, financial wellness, obviously in large part due to the fact that that's what Immediate's mission is, right? To help improve the financial well-being of the American workforce. And so what we thought today would be good would be to sit down and talk to you guys. I've gotten to see it firsthand as a CEO of a financial services company. I've tried to impart some wisdom on you guys over the years, but just thought it'd be good for us to have a conversation about money. Hopefully this will either one, be educational. I know it's going to be educational for me. I'm going to find out how good of a job I'm doing as a parent teaching about money, but two, I'm hopeful that it'll spark some conversations at your houses and around your dinner. We're starting out with, what is the biggest single purchase you've made with your own money, not with our money, but with your own money?
I don't really make big purchases. I'm pretty frugal with what I buy and spend. But in general, the biggest purchase that I've made would probably be our booth at We Love Homewood Day for our podcast.
Whitley Grace also hosts a podcast called Hello Homewood, which is where we live in Homewood, Alabama, and she talks about all things going on. So you set up a booth at a We Love Homewood Day, and you went and bought some of those things. How did the day turn out? Was it good? Was it worth it? Would you have spent that money on like sponsoring that again, or what do you think?
I for sure would have. It went really well, and there's a good turnout.
Yeah, I feel like you had a pretty good traffic at the booth.
We have bubbles. Attracted all
Bubbles.
the kids.
Bubbles bring the kids in. Kathryn, what about you? What's the biggest purchase you've made with your own money?
I bought some clothing and they were
Clothing?
Yeah.
You can talk normal. What kind of clothing? Like, what are you talking about?
well, I bought athletic clothing, and as a kid I'm definitely still growing, so I did think that I could buy less expensive clothing because I'm just gonna grow out of it.
Yeah.
But I do think that it was a good buy what I am using it for.
Do you feel like you size up a little bit? Like you buy like a little bit bigger than you need just because you know you're going to grow into it so you can make it last longer? I think that's probably a good thing, right? Like not a big deal to go buy like exactly a fit because you may not wear it anymore in the summer. But if you're thinking about something where like I'm going to spend more money than I normally would, maybe you buy a little bit big so you get more wear. Your mom likes to call it cost per
wear.
cost per wear, right? So that's how she finagles herself into buying like nicer things. Okay, well then, kind of coming off that, if I were to, I'm not, so don't get your hopes up. But if I were to say, here's $1,000 and you could do whatever you want with it, what would you do?
I would without a doubt save it.
Save the whole thing?
No, I would save most of it
Okay.
and then invest another part of it just to like make sure I'm not wasting it on something that it's like momentary want. The thought behind investing most of the other part would be probably to like gain interest and stuff. And so that way I'm making the $1,000, which is already a lot that I'm getting interest on. Yeah.
Well, like when you talk about investing, are you thinking like putting it in, like, I know you use Greenlight, both of you use Greenlight. Are you talking about like investing in Greenlight, or are you talking about like putting it in, like, what kind of investment? are you
I
talking
think it
about?
just depends.
What about you? $1,000.
I would probably save most of it and probably put it in like a trust fund account, or not a trust fund, like just an account.
Trust fund would be great. By the way, you guys don't have a trust fund. Just to be clear, you mean put it in something just to let it grow? Would you pull some of it out and like go do something fun with it? I think to me, that's a good, there's got to be a balance, right? There's a lot of studies out there that say when people win the lottery, they end up most of the time, like most people end up blowing all the money, right? They go and they buy fancy houses, they buy fancy cars, they spend a lot of money on other people, they give money away. And not to say that those things are bad, but what happens is they end up spending all that they got because one, there's a lot to be said for working hard for something, right? When you work hard for something, you hold on to it a little tighter because you're like, I know how hard how long and hard I had to work to get this. And so you protect it a little more. The other thing is that when you get such a big amount of money, a lot of times lottery winners will be like, well, it's never going to run out. I got $5 million. It's never going to run out. And it feels good until you go, I bought a $2 million house. Well, you don't think about the fact that, the upkeep of $2 million house, you're going to pay $20,000 a year in property taxes, and you're going to pay so much in utilities, and all the things that come with that. And so I think part of the question there is like helping you guys think through when you do start to make more money, and both of you have like summer jobs that you do and like things that you do to make money, and obviously allowance. But like if there was a situation, something happens, it's good to be thinking about. I'm really proud of both of you with your answer, just being like, I want to save a lot of it. There's people that can be on both ends, right? There's some people who spend so much time saving that they don't actually enjoy the money that they have and don't actually go do things because they're too busy focused on the future, right? And then there's other people who just go and blindly spend it all and then they run out of it, right? And so they may have a really good time now, but they're not thinking about the future. So you can like think too much about the future or not think enough about the future. And there's kind of this nice balance in between. So I think that's an interesting segue into like this next question, which is, when you think about adults and where adults spend money, and I know your frame of reference is like your parents and like, families that are close to us, are there things that you guys see that in your mind or in your eyes, kind of silly things that you think adults spend money on?
I know someone that got a new car and then renewed it for a different one when the one that he had was pretty good. So I
You're not talking about me, are you? Okay. Good. I was going to say I've had the same car for a while.
Upgrading your car just for the looks when you have a
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I mean, cars are expensive. I get it. But also, like, I will say, as technology advances, and if you're in a good position and you like things and cars and all that good stuff, you can refresh. I will say, I do want to make a point. The value of money to each person is subjective, right? Like, the three of us are going to have different opinions on the value of money and the things that we value. And so it's like, whoever you're talking about, like with cars, they may go, I really like cars. Growing up, my dad loved cars and he got new cars all the time. And he would just kind of constantly, still does, yeah. He would just like constantly trade things in. And it's because he liked cars and he liked to have the latest and greatest. And so, and he, in a lot of cases, he would lease cars because he'd say, if I can lease it, it's kind of just like a long-term rental. But then after a year, he'd go and get a good deal and he'd move into another one. And so he just liked kind of new cars and new technology and all that stuff. Some people just care about their anti-aging regimen, and if they want to spend money on that, then that to them is a place that they want to invest and spend. So I do think like totally fine for you guys to have those opinions. I just think it's always good to kind of take a step back and just realize that different people have different ideas about where to spend and how to spend and what's valuable to them, not valuable to them. So what I want to talk about next is how you guys make money. I mentioned at the beginning, both of you have green lights. We have it set up where for their allowance, we typically are paying them their age every week. And so, look, 12, 13, I mean, it's not a ton of money, but it's enough money for them to be able to do things. So, talking like whatever, $50 a month. We obviously still support them if there's things like over and above, if they've got school events to go to, or they've got things where we can fund it, or they're taking a gift to a friend at a birthday party, we'll help with that. But for them, if they want to go hang out with their friends, they want to go get ice cream or whatever, like we kind of say, you've got your green light and you can do that. Both of you, I feel like, because I can see your bank account, both of you have done a really good job of not just spending everything that you get. We have it set up to where they can put money into savings and we do parent paid interest. And so as that gets in there, it used to be a lot higher than this one right here. Figured out.
You moved it down?
Yeah, of course I did. I was paying like a pretty high, like a lot better than in the markets. She started moving all of her, she would keep like $10 in her spending account and then she'd move everything else into this other account. I'm just like, I'm paying a lot of.
yourself.
I know, and I fixed it. That's a lesson to be learned. Interest rates can change on a dime. Tell me how you guys make money outside of allowance, and how you feel about the difference between the money you get as allowance.
I mean, allowance, like, I feel like you're like doing the work at home, but you're kind of used to it. But the money that you do for like babysitting and yard work and getting money from gifts, like, it's kind of just a different way to get it. Gifts, it's kind of you're just given the money, but you're actually working for it. I mean, not that you're not working for it doing like chores and stuff, but you're working harder with like yard work and stuff like for your neighbors or something and babysitting.
I think you've done a good job of that. Both of you have helped in the neighborhood with babysitting other kids. You're helping take care of somebody's house right now while they're traveling. I do think that's really great that you guys kind of have that. Is there things that you do to help make money besides babysitting or anything else like that?
To grab her garden during the summer, and usually I do like a camp and I get paid for that. I do a VBS camp and I help make creations, I guess, that go along with the lesson for the day, and
That's cool.
I get paid for that.
That's awesome. So I just think it's good that you guys are thinking about that. And I know, I mean, really directly, like we haven't pushed you to do those things. So it's one thing that I like about you guys that you recognize like I can go do things. I can help my grandmother. Or I can help people in the neighborhood, but I can also make a little bit of money for it. So I think that's really, really cool. Have you ever bought anything that like you buy it and then whether it's like immediately afterwards or later on, you're like, gosh, I really wish I wouldn't spent $20 on that. Anything like that?
I can't name it like off the top of my head, but
Because you're embarrassed?
but there was something last summer that I've spent $30, which isn't an insane amount on, but it was like the month later I realized I don't even need this. Like, I bought it for something that I thought I needed it for, but I didn't. And then also a pair of shoes. Like, I grew out of them within like 2 months, and yeah.
Well, your little sister will benefit from that. She'll get those shoes. I think.
I definitely think that I used to spend a lot of money on makeup, which now that I look back at it, I should not have done because makeup does expire and it changes all the time. It's just not always needed. And so I definitely think my mom made me go 9 months without buying makeup. And my bank account benefited from that.
Well, it's good that you learn, right? Like that's probably a good lesson, especially as you get older, of like some of the things that to take a beat and like think about like how long will this last? Is this really worth me spending the money on it right now and all that? It's good. Thank you guys both for sharing that. Okay, last couple of things, and we're gonna do a rapid fire before we wrap it all up. What is something that your parents have taught you about money that you think has been?
I think that like money isn't everything, but it's like good to have and like be prepared and stuff.
Right, you?
To think before you buy stuff.
Yeah. That's good. Like, don't make emotional decisions, right? Yeah, I think that's something that I do feel like we talk a lot about in our house. It's something you guys have heard me say a lot, and I think your mom's heard me say a lot is like we don't make impulse purchases. Yeah, but it's like you don't make long-term decisions on short-term emotions. Try to think things out. I've heard some people say, and I don't necessarily know that we're really good about this. I'm not a real big spender. I don't know how good your mom is on it, but like there's some people who say they like to put things in there, like, especially online, because online it's like so easy to buy when you find something. Oh, you click things, and Amazon's really good about going. You bought this before, maybe you should get some more, and you're just adding stuff to your cart. And went in there, it's kind of like when you go to the grocery store. I'm going to get milk, and the next thing you know, you walk out and spend $70 on all this other stuff. And so, like on Amazon, you go in to buy one thing, and next thing you know, we have like 3 boxes that show up on our front doorstep. And so I do think there's one of the things that your mom is, that I've heard, and it sounds like your mom is trying to do more of, is you pick something, you want it, you put it in your shopping cart, and then you go, I'm gonna sit tight until tomorrow before I hit buy. Like I'm gonna think about it. Right. So as opposed to kind of taking that impulse and clicking yes and submitting, you wait until you think about it a little bit. So I think that's good that both of you guys have kind of done that. If you could give one money tip to other kids your age, what would it be?
Well, I just wrote some like a brief thing of what I wanted to say, and it was about the cart and
Oh
like
yeah.
keeping stuff in your cart.
Yeah.
But I would just say like save your money and like think about things in like a long-term perspective. Are you gonna need this in the future, or is this something you just want right now?
I'd say save your money and try not to buy things right away.
Yeah. Good. Right. You guys have been listening, I guess. Okay, lightning round. Here we go. You guys can answer at the same time. We've got about 7 of these. Okay. Are we ready? Save or spend?
Save.
Okay. I guess if you would have said spend right after you got done giving other people the advice of save, that would have been bad. Cash or green light?
Green light.
Okay. Shout out green light. Starbucks or save the money? Oh, we got a Starbucks over here. Get those refreshers.
Probably save because you can get Starbucks once you save.
Okay, that's fair. Biggest waste of money?
Botox
Gosh.
or makeup.
Okay. What about you?
What she said.
Both? Goodness gracious. All right. Best thing money can buy? Happiness?
It can't buy happiness. I mean, fulfillment.
It can buy a jet ski. You ever see anybody unhappy riding a jet ski?
Yes.
When?
Me.
That was a backfire. All right.
Popcorn.
What about you?
No, like a mansion.
A mansion? Okay.
Or a trip. A trip.
You think a trip is the biggest waste?
No.
Best thing. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah. Best thing money could buy. Trip. I like that. Trip's probably a good answer. Here's the last question. What do you guys think of if we said, like, what does being rich mean? Do you think of being rich as like a number? If somebody has X amount of dollars, they're rich? Or do you think of being rich as feeling comfortable, feeling financially sound? What would you define rich as?
I would say being financially stable, but also like having a good relationship with like your friends, your family, and like faith, and like being able to provide for those people and like meet those needs. Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I would say being rich in life, having friends that you can count on, a family that's there for you, and just being happy.
Yeah, good. That's awesome. That's where it grows. Okay, well, to wrap it up, a big part of the reason we did this, one, because I think these 2 kids are awesome. I'm really proud of them. And thank you guys for being here on this with me today. So also just like, really directly, like as a parent, I try to talk to my kids about what I do for a living. And we don't go so far as like talking about how much money I make and like getting that into the weeds. But I do think it's very important to like bring kids in to, because it's going to be a big part of their lives, right? Like they're going to be in school until their early 20s, and then they're going to be working for a while, try to help get them ahead of what's to come in life. And so we try to have financial conversations, and I talk to them about what I do at Immediate and how Immediate helps support people and giving them access to their pay in between paydays so they don't have to turn to predatory title on payday loans, run up credit card debt, writing bad checks, and all those things. So it is near and dear to my heart, and hopefully, and I think as you saw today, something that these kids are pretty well versed on and in my opinion are thinking about money the right way. So I'm proud of both of you for that. I also think it's important because financial literacy and financial awareness doesn't start once you get out into the real world. Like the sooner you start teaching kids, the stronger the foundation is, and then they can kind of build upon that. And so that's really why we wanted to do this today. And hopefully this is encouraging to all of you listening and watching. And hopefully it helps to kind of spur and start some conversations around your dinner tables and with your families. So I know this was a little bit different than a typical Business and Brews, but it's been one of my favorites, and I've enjoyed it, and hopefully you have too. So check in with us next week, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. Thank you, everybody. See you, kids. I swear. All right, let's go get lunch.